All right, just jumping on for another squeeze on gold and silver. I still don't know which one I want to trade, but both of them super clean, long, inverse SMT across the two assets. And I just closed out of a long right there. I was long throughout this range on silver, end up getting long gold right at the close. Got a gap up through this point, and I'm expecting this to squeeze up quite nicely. This is a very specific confirmation of a squeeze where we have a strong closure through the midpoint of this range. And if you look at the high time frame range, like on gold, if you think anyone who's bearish, what are they waiting for? Oh, they want to wait for a pullback and then they want to sell the pullback. Well, we've had that pullback, and there'll be plenty of people looking to get short at this level and above, offering a great opportunity for a squeeze. But then hopefully we're logged in. Nope. So this is a whole bunch of messing around trying to get this thing going. Okay, so I put a buy limit in here because the idea is that we should drop down towards the impulse origin, but not reach it. This is a demo account here, so that's not my live. It's the wrong one. So I'll swap that out. In fact, the stop loss can now be dragged to precisely here. I'll take another partial as we hit this premium high, but I'll jump on to my other broker. So yeah, now it's just a case of waiting for the right re-entry. I took profits up here as we were hitting 5,020 to 20 points past 5k. Nice and extended off the open, and now looking to re-add a bit lower down. But now that we've got this strong closure, that does suggest that we should not take out the impulse origin that made that strong closure, which I would assume would actually be this low. It does feel a little bit uncomfortable on this one, to be honest. I might jump over to silver, because silver, I kind of prefer there's plenty of liquidity for us to target before hitting the invalidation, whereas on gold, the invalidation is like the first like obvious pool of liquidity. But it might just keep pushing. I don't know. I want to talk through this trade though. If I go to the 1 minute time frame and I will turn on executions, so not on gold, on silver. So it's long gold, and you can see I caught a few winners, got stopped out, got back in, changed my mind, and then I was like, no, I actually have to be in this. This is going to squeeze. So got in there with a stop loss for this low, and that ran out quite nicely. But then looking at silver, I was also trading silver, and I was up very big on this position. So you can see my account size right here. And as it was up, like unrealized equity, I probably had 100 USD open in this position, which is like 20% of my account size. And I was right at the highs. I was like, okay, I'm not going to get shaken out of this trade. This is a really good trade. I really like it. The only thing I didn't like was the fact that all these lows, really smooth trendline lows, and we just hadn't taken any out since making this low. But I was also thinking some of the best squeezes on silver, like it just leaves these smooth lows and never comes back. That is quite common. And I figured I wouldn't get shaken out. I also liked how we had these enticing displacements low, like displacement low, displacement low. I thought, okay, they're trying to entice shorts and they're squeezing straight back up. So, I'm on side, which I was correct. However, something I figured when I was going shopping earlier is these small enticements, they are priming people, they're priming traders for the short. So they're priming traders who are second guessing it, going, oh, should I get in? Oh, I'll get in. And then they second guess it and they feel really sketched out, because I've done that in the past as well. And then eventually it makes the move and they're like, damn it, I was right. See, we're breaking down. I knew it was a short. And they all jump in short down in this area as we're hitting all the sell side, and then we rip back up. And I love how strong silver is right now. But you can see that I had some good fills. I also got stopped out a few times, or like when that wick happened, I was like, okay, it's probably going to come down. Second guessing myself a bit. I really liked this area in here. We had a manipulation closure beyond the liquidity midpoint here. that failed when we rallied back up. So you see I added in right there and held through this. Took one partial and then re-added it below this low because I figured this range should hold, and it just melted eventually. But I really like the idea of priming traders with enticing them short and then eventually sweeping them out. But I need to plan on how I'm going to get back in this thing because I do want to be in it still. I should still be long. What I should have done is taken profit up here when it wasn't showing me that follow through instead of getting stopped out right here. I actually got a short entry right there that I actually missed. It didn't quite fill me, but it was a valid short setup. Reverses back up, and then right here, I come back to the computer and I'm thinking, okay, I need to get in this trade. And that's where you see me getting long gold and then getting straight out and then getting in again. But yeah, definitely need to get long gold ASAP. This is a squeeze, but there's a good chance we retrace fairly deep towards this. And this reminds me very much of exactly what happened yesterday on silver over here. So very, very similar. We had this squeeze up. We have that same blue line that I just showed you. I've got the wrong color, but that same blue dashed line, the midpoint of this range, we get a multiple candle closures above it. Then we drop down and retest that exact midpoint. If I drag across and have a look, that midpoint, just eyeing it, is about here. So that's EQ of the range. And you can see the EQ lined up with this particular down closing range. That's what sent us up. That's the impulse origin. I felt too sketched out to buy it here because it was so close to EQ. And that's why I didn't buy silver right there. Same thing is kind of happening today, even more so on gold, where we're having that same confirmation. And once again, it looks a bit sketchy with where that impulse origin is, but theoretically it should still hold. But it just depends if we can get a pullback to hit it. Now in a squeeze, I find that it's best to enter on the right side of the V. So rather than getting a front side entry, because you saw I had a limit order in here before, should be waiting ideally for it to come down before going back up, unless it is coming down to an area where I have a very specific close invalidation. And for me, that would be if silver were to sell off and come down below these lows. I know for sure that, okay, this is the invalidation. I'm not sure what the range is though. Let's say we walk below the low of day. So, I mean, yes, that is over leveraged for the account size, but everything's over leveraged for the account size. Something is quite interesting. I've noticed that I'm actually putting on the same amount of size on my personal account, which is a small personal. Well, this is actually my swing account that I'm not meant to be swinging. I'm not meant to be scalping in. I also have my scalping account, which is the one I mentioned blew up the other day, which was a lot smaller. But trading with a bit larger account size, it does seem to make a difference. Just psychologically, I can execute it better because I'm not worried that, oh, I literally have two shots at this and then my account's blown. It's more like, yeah, like I've actually got a bit of wiggle room to let it come in back into drawdown, then run up and have that healthy equity curve. But I don't think it's going to give much of a pullback. This happened on gold a little while ago. See if I can find it. Another beautiful squeeze a while back. Here. Oh, too easy. Found it straight away. So we set ourselves up for a squeeze. We haven't failed to take out the low. Measure out that range. You find the midpoint is about here. We gap up, rip through it, come down and retest it really briefly, and then continue to rally. Just not giving a single opportunity for anyone who wanted to catch it to get in. So I really need to be zoomed in on this time frame. I need to be focusing on the left side of the curve, seeing what liquidity pools we are hitting. We're also just hitting the 20s. So there's a bunch of liquidity above the 20s for sure, but I think I just pasted. Oh, there we go. That wick should be there, and I tried to cover it up, but it doesn't. Oh, it worked. Good. Needs to be zoomed in basically and finding an entry as we squeeze up to the right. I feel a little bit overwhelmed with trying to navigate this right now. It might be better actually had to have the like a full screen so I can actually see what I'm looking at. Zooming out, we are hitting this buy side, the next level buy side is up here. So what I can do is I can measure out the midpoint of these two highs. A closure beyond this liquidity midpoint would confirm a continuation towards this high, even if we sold off first. Interesting how we have this old swing high, though that kind of consolidation we had earlier was kind of bumping up against it. I don't know how I'm going to use that information, but it is a data point to keep in mind. And we have a very nice resistance level up here, just short of where we reached. That's another reason why the short was nice as well, is that we failed to reach a key level that everyone's going to be watching and then aggressively broke lower, which resulted in a beautiful sell-off. This is gold. Looking at what we got, just taking our time. I'll do the same thing for silver. Starting on the hourly. I really need to figure out this relative strength and weakness thing. The reason why I didn't want to get long silver is it did react quite nicely from the midpoint between these two pools. So between that pool and that pool. Midpoint right there. It did react nicely from a key point of interest. And it is a lot heavier than gold. You can see that we've barely retraced into the range at all. However, this is the strongest squeeze signature is when we fail to break the lows. That happened on silver, not on gold. Gold actually made a lower low. So gold took out more liquidity down here, but it made the higher low. But I had a higher confidence in it hitting higher. Plus, gold has been stronger. But I'm wondering maybe sometime during the week does the strength rotate back into silver, which is the one that I wanted to buy anyway. And it appears to be happening. Like high time frame, if I were to just zoom out and go on the 4 hour, that would be a buy right there, and you put your stop at the low. And minimum, you'd expect it to hit up to this swing high, let's say 102, just to be safe, and then even up to this flat candle up here, 107.2 or so, ultimately squeezing up. But I do expect this, like just the fact that this is a failure swing is telling me that it's likely, going to hold quite nicely. Do on the 15 minutes. There's the SMT I'm talking about. I don't need all these lines though. What's this line? That's the old support line. This is the old, what is this? Oh, it's just an old high. We already hit that level. It's cool to see a reaction from it, but don't need it. That's a previous week high apparently. Could be influential. Maybe a good place to TP. I'm pretty open to going long both gold and silver, honestly. Whichever one gives me the cleaner looking entry, I might. Well, that's what I was doing last night or this morning in the PM session. I was doing both. I was buying both gold and silver. You can see a whole bunch of drawings down here as well. this was actually measuring for, so that's the 2 p.m. low. We got a strong closure below it there. That was the entry for the short, but I didn't take the short because I'd just been stopped out the long, and instead I walked away from the computer, came back, and we'd ripped up. But I don't think, unless I literally just bought as it was ripping, I wouldn't have got an entry through here anyway. And then there was the classic panicky, do I buy, do I not buy on gold? But it was definitely the right, obviously with the profit I made, it was definitely the right decision to buy it right here. And I like how this happened going into the close. Also, the other confluence that gave me confidence in it, if we zoom in on this 5 minute time frame, is we had this long wick. So this is a very bearish signature where we've got a long wick. It fails to reach the midpoint and sells off. That could have been an early warning sign to actually get out of my silver long. But then that gets overlapped, we'll run back up. This is also a long wick like this. Traders typically see that as a bearish rejection, which it is only a bearish rejection in certain scenarios. And similar to silver, a bearish rejection, traders are being enticed to short. They then get that confirmation that, oh wow, I was right after all, and it sells off. Aggressive rally back up. We've also got the 50s right here, so that's 50 even. Becomes a resistance level. Everyone's like, oh, see, it knew it was right, and we're at this resistance again, and they're going to sell. Then the facts that we only start rallying right at the close, that is very, very telling. That's usually, that's what I call a last second wick. But I suppose I should change the name because obviously this is a candle body if it just rips up. But basically when the entire movement happens in the last portion of a candle, in this particular instance, a daily time frame candle, the last moment of the candle is what made the low and ripped off of it. So maybe even this down closing range will hold. It likely will hold. It will likely hold this range and then it'll push up. And you've got traders waiting for that retracement. The retracement never comes. But it's like, am I just going to buy high? Maybe. I might really quick go to a new window and go and find that old example again. So this is this same example. We have that rally I actually bought right there. Big rally, big pullback, I buy more, and then it went up really nicely. But you can see once it's had this big aggressive pullback and tightening shorts, it then has these very shallow pullbacks and just keeps on pumping. Drops low and then pumps. That's kind of what I'm looking for, is us to really not be offering much in the way of opportunities to get in. This is kind of like the kind of what I'm seeing happening right here. So we've already had this down closing range and we're just hovering above it. So people who are going short, they want to attack this low. I think any kind of dip lower would be a good idea to buy the dip. Maybe at the midpoint between these two pools. Just trust that it doesn't come below this low. And that might be the best way to get involved with the squeeze. So tight stop, buying on the right side of the V on the high time frame. And I have my challenge account up as well. And both gold and silver just look so good for longs. Yeah, see with gold that's in a reasonable kind of amount. I can put on like 3 with that. Whereas silver, I'd only be able to do 1 micro lot and for the same risk. Also need to keep in mind the time. Usually, if there's going to be a momentum driven move or a squeeze, like it should last the first hour pretty easily. After the first hour, the further into the session you get, the more likely a pullback is going to be. But if we do reach this line and get a closure above it, I want to see some sort of a little pullback and then a indication of us hitting back up. but I honestly don't know if it's going to offer me very much today. But from where I took profit up here, we're not up all that much, and that's a whole bunch of time. So from the time of taking profits, as we hit just before we hit this high, up to here, I've had no position on, and that's freed up my mental equity to do all the admin you just saw me doing with closing trading view and reopening and logging into different broker accounts now. But yeah, it gave me the mental equity to be able to do other stuff. Whereas if I was in a single position the whole time, like I'd have less clarity than when I'm just open and focused on looking at different things. So with this particular instance, it ended up consolidating a bunch, and then in like later in the session or early London, I think it had a nice rally after that. But if we fast forward this a bit, see what it did last time. Midnight opens up, it trips this high, takes out that short-term low, then rallies, holds tight, keeps pushing higher. And you see it's engineering all this buy side. And basically trips in buy side, spends a bunch of time there, aggressively sells off, comes below these lows, not just below that, down to here, and then rallies. But once it hit ERL, it kind of topped out, and it was pretty much one shot all the way up. Which is why I wanted to put it on the position so badly last night, and why I'm really desperate to get in right now, because it is pretty much an identical situation. Ideally, I want to see some sort of enticing move lower. Buy the enticing move lower, and then especially if it starts V-shape recovering back up, get in with a little bit more size as well. We have just tapped that buy side pull, we've hit the 22s. So we're balanced all the way up to the premium of this range. So this long is just assuming that we will fail to reach this swing low. If it's in a squeeze type condition, it's a good chance we don't pull back very much. But then again, I don't know. Let's see. If we look at silver again, we look at silver the other day or just yesterday. So we did pull back to the midpoint of that range, and we got another pump. It kind of slowed down a whole bunch through this range all the way into the London session. But this is a slightly different situation to this. Like this rally happened like kind of a wee bit into the Asia session, whereas this one gaps straight up and just going in one shot. I think we shouldn't really stop until we've hit this impulse high. So silver still holding up quite strongly while gold's beginning to drop a bit lower. It's like, yeah, we have hit a key point of interest, but it's not really showing any indication of hitting lower. Oh, come on. Surely you can at least tap this low. There were some violent spikes lower in the PM session today. Zoom out and have a quick look. That's all the way over 2 p.m. aggressive drop lower. I really like that. It's a very obvious impulse origin that it failed to reach, then respecting the midpoint of that order block. The moment we disrespected that order block, we failed to take out the low and instantly reverse back up. What's that? That's a manipulation closure. Very specific signature. How's my demo account going, I wonder? This is replay trade. But yeah, if we just look at this, we ended up getting a very nice blast off top eventually. I actually caught this long here, and I'll quickly describe how I caught it. Got the 15 minutes on that side, and look over here. Holy crap, what's happening? Okay, zoom in, and then zoom in here as well. Get rid of that. So once again, using liquidity midpoint idea from that high down to the high below it. Do we get a closure above that midpoint? We do right on this candle here, which is actually here. I must use the 5 minute. If we go to the 5 minute time frame. Yeah, I must have used the 5 minutes, that closure, to confirm that we're going to continue. And once we got that closure, I was like, cool, waiting for some sort of a pullback. And then buying on the way back up. So it reacts, gets this push up. I'm then using the exact same concepts of measuring out the midpoint between these two pools. We get the closure above that midpoint right there. Pulls back, I buy at a short-term low, and then it rallies nicely. Had a breakout, and that happened around just going into 2000 candle. Leave. Suppose I'll check on my paper trade. It hasn't hit that next TP just yet. So at this point, why would you leave that much on the table? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab 150. Where am I? So grabbing half of it, I'm going to do a 2-minute trailing stop with half because we're so extended. And the 2-minute trailing stop would be below this low. 150, sorry. Then every 2-minute candle, I'm just going to trail that sell stop up with it until it gets stopped out. That doesn't quite add up though, but yeah, I'll just do that. And then it's probably going to get hits before this, so I'll modify that to just 50 for now. Let that run. So it looks like we are coming down for one more dip, so that's nice to see. Waiting for the right side of the V, however, maybe I should be looking at silver and waiting to see where silver actually wants to reach for. Because I can see silver potentially coming all the way down into this area. But also I don't want to just not get in. I mean, with how much we've just been topping out, and we're... I don't know. Also, on other brokers, this shows as one candle, not two. That's weird. I'll just check on this broker. So I'm not a fan of the black bull market feed all the time. It doesn't, like, it put a massive wick here, whereas there wasn't one. I know it looks reasonable. I think I'll take the trade and just look at what silver's doing as well. Don't forget, if this is becoming a pullback, anyone who's looking for the pullback, they're like, finally a few red candles in a row, let's get short. Everyone's jumping in. It's already shown a willingness to reach this next swing point, so it is bullish. There's just a question of, is this the right place for a stop? I mean, as a front side entry, I'm risking 38 bucks or so. Hmm. So you'll notice my account balance is almost up to, well, it's up to the point at which it was before I blew up last week and lost all my money. I did refund. I did put some more money into it. I don't know exactly how much, but let's say I put in, let's say, 50 bucks into this account. So I've recovered like a significant amount of the money I lost last week. Because last week I had a day where I was up 300 bucks and gave it all back, or up 300 slash. I was up to probably 200 bucks. What was that noise? Oh, there was that. I was up, let's say equity wise, from my equity high to where I finished on the day was $300. And can't remember exactly how much I was up on the day. But the very next day, I took an A plus trade and got perfectly bottom ticked for minus 250 bucks, which on this account size made it a pretty small account. It went down to like 200 bucks. I put a little bit more to top it up so I wouldn't get margined out of my swing positions. Some of them just hit some pretty sick TPs recently. There we go. And we got a slightly better fill, I think. But yeah, it's come back up, trading a bit bigger size, and I think that's partly thanks to that really big loss I took. That gave me the conviction that, okay, I know what I'm doing if I can manage the risk correctly, but I can put on size if I need to. I don't need to take like absolutely tiny ass position sizes and be really scared. Let's see if we can add to this position. So what I'd want to see to add is us get some confidence that silver is respecting wherever it is when we want to add. So let's say between these two lows, doesn't want to stop here. If it does and it shows willingness to get back up, I really like this long wick on gold. That should send us lower. If it is bearish, if it's not bearish, it should send us higher. I have this drawn out here just so that I can measure it and see where that midpoint is. And if we do reach down very easily below this low, then I know that I'm screwed a fraction of a second before I lose my money, basically. It's like a warning light. Silver closing below this would just indicate that it's likely to hit this low. But I want to see us spend a bunch of time down here, probably, a few more minutes. I like how it's happening just ahead of the hour, but not too close to the hour. So we first enticed people to start selling at 1848. And then since then, we've just been slowly rolling over, getting lower. We did have a big up close straight after. But I like how it's just kind of drifting low and giving plenty of opportunity for whoever does want to get shorts to jump in. The question really is just how deep does it want to go? And if it does want to come down to this low, I'll have to look for a backside entry, which just means buying on the way back up, which is ideally what you want to do in a squeeze. But like I mentioned, this just reminds me of that situation we had from way back. And for that reason, I'm not entirely confident we will pull back very far. This low was formed right at 5k. It's something I need to keep in mind as well. So we already retested 5k pretty much exactly? Does it do that again? Did it engineer this low for the purpose of coming down and rating it out? The fact that it failed to return into this wick isn't ideal. But if we do end up reaching back up into this wick, then I'd be quite confident that we should get a nice push up from here. Now, new hourly candle, I like how it's beginning to rip up straight away. What I think about in this situation is, okay, if anyone's short, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? I'd be feeling, like, okay, it's going to turn around, it's going to go lower so far. But if we do get up through this range, once again, measuring out the midpoint between those two swing points, and we get some nice speed through this high, then we could be hitting higher. But yeah, at the moment, it's nothing confirmed just yet. I still favor the longs, and if I was to take a short right now, I'd just be fading the overall trend, bias, narrative, everything. So longs are the play. If it's a squeeze, we're unlikely to break lows. If it does begin to rally up, then it needs to continue, because another very bearish thing would be if it were to rally up like this and then spend a minute up there and then aggressively come back down. That would indicate a bit more heaviness, but looks like we may want to take out this wick. I'll be watching to see if we get a closure below this low. That wouldn't be ideal if we do. Hate how much the candles lag on this platform. I'm sure there's a way to speed it up. I've tried clearing cache, and I think I've just got too many windows open at once. Yeah, might want this because it is right at 5k, so I think traders see this as like a support resistance area maybe, but at the same time, we might just be engineering that for a later date. What I want to see is if we can get back above this low before the candle closure, be ideal. This might be an impulse rejection failure. Oh, that's looking good. It's looking good. Because this, like a closure below that low after already beginning to reject from it, could indicate a short. We just failed to do such. And we just hit that liquidity midpoint. So let us find out. I'm liking it. I'm going to get ready to go long with some more size just in case. Just have the order rest in there so I can quickly drag it out when I need it. Might put the stop loss a bit tighter just so that I don't forget about it and take a silly loss. Okay, I like how we didn't trade into that work. It looks good. I'm going to add on my challenge accounts. I'm going to add here. And moving the stop up to here. Might add more. Looking healthy. Might wait for this 5-minute candle to close maybe, or I might not. Do I add more? Well, I said I wanted to add up here if it shows me willingness to. So if we get a closure beyond liquidity midpoint here, any sort of a pullback, then I'm in with more size. But at this point, it's looking good. I'm going to trail stops. I like how we failed to trade into the midpoint of this wick. That's a good signature. It doesn't mean necessarily put the stops there. You could, but I'm going to put them a little bit further away because yesterday we had a situation where it actually did come back down into this wick, but still didn't get below it. But can reduce risk at this point, which is good. Add in buy silver maybe. Maybe I'll use the gold confirmation to buy silver. Might be a good way to do it. Because silver has a very clear draw. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I might buy silver as well instead of gold. I'll leave that there in case I do need it. But that looks good. I need to trail up all the stops on challenge accounts. You notice that I've changed it to some weird percentage thing. This only just shows you like the percentage change in price, not of the account size. But helping me to begin to think more in percentages because I figured that is going to be essential if I want to really scale and get really big in this game. But yeah, closure beyond the midpoint of this. I'm going to look for a pullback on silver and I'm going to get long silver. And then I'll have both going. I'll draw a nice little line here so I can see where that is at. Like I mentioned, I don't want to see a failure swing right here, but it is looking really strong at the moment. So I do like that a lot. And you can see a nice 3 drives into the lows. Pretty cool to see this, how that low, that swing point, we failed to close beyond it. Because one of my entry techniques is a impulse rejection failure, so an impulse low that we reject from, but then it closes below it just afterwards. That's impulse rejection failure, and that would be a bearish entry, which is what I was hoping wouldn't happen. But that failed and it ripped straight back up, so that's good. But I don't like that we didn't reach up into this wick. We only just tapped that. That's not ideal. So I won't be adding just yet, that's for sure. Stop loss has been trailed here because it's shown rejection from this level. We also failed to reach the midpoint of this wick, and that is indicating strength. So if we come back down below this wick, that's, as I mentioned, it's a failure swing and it's probably really bearish, which is what I want to not see. Instantly reversing on this new 5-minute candle as well. Well, not quite actually. It's been a few minutes up. Take a quick screenshot. Oops. Hold on. The moment of the truth. So account balance is at 498. This will be like a $36 loss or so. But it's looking quite aggressive. Oh, what? Oh, good. 98, so yeah, $32 loss. That is what it is. Cool, continue hunting because it is still long. I want to see where silver gets down to. And I still want to buy the dip. But you can see, really aggressive drop low. The next up, I'd be looking at these two pools. But ultimately, like, we could come pretty close to EQ, and that would be okay. Right now, this is showing a lot of heaviness. This is a clear first stage distribution. I'm going to look for a second stage after this, which means I'm going to draw some little annotations representing the break for first stage. This wick likely to hold price below it. I'm not necessarily looking for a short though. But how I'm going to use this, so this is a market maker buy model. I'm not going to be selling on the left side of the curve. I know where the entries are likely to form. But with the first stage here, potentially a second stage, and if I can recognize those two stages, and then I see a reversal pattern form, it's a very high probability that's an actual reversal. And the smart money reversal as it's called. So that's how I'm going to use that. If we look over on the left over here, there's just nothing that really stands out to me on the left for us to reach for. Let's just EQ at the range. There's a swing low down here. We already gapped up past that. And I want to see what happens when silver gets down into this area. We're obviously at this point, we're clearly reaching at least for a discount. I jumps to this low. Silver tends to come quite deep, so probably a bit lower as well. But if we compare the two, say silver's been showing a bit more strength through this rally. But I think actually using the market making model as a timing mechanism for the long is going to be quite powerful in this particular scenario. This should make a new low. It should be a short back down. And if this is a short back down, oh wow, didn't see silver drop like that. Okay, maybe this is a very tempting to take a short on my challenge account just to make a new low. But I won't because I'm going to stick to the long. Because everything is still telling me that this is a long. Like I'm getting more and more confirmation. We've got a very obvious midpoint between these two pools that we clearly close beyond. Dropping down into the area right now on silver. And high time frame invalidation on silver for me right now is down here. I don't think we likely don't take out this low. But this right here would be a nice short. Let me say where I would get in anyway. Very fast looking wick, that's the only thing. So I'd want to see us pull up into this wick and then fail to run it out, because otherwise we could just go straight back up. But what I want to see is us attempt to go back up and then fail. Kind of like what we did here, really long wick. We attempted to reach up into it and then failed. But I'd expect this down closing range to hold price below. There we go. So that could be a short entry right there. Stop loss above that high. And that's showing some heaviness. It should be able to reach pretty easily down to this area here. And what that looks like with a beautiful risk reward tool. This is second stage of a market maker model as well, so that shows why it's so fast. But that'd be this kind of level, this old support and resistance idea, getting a bounce there. But ultimately, once this is played out, this becomes second stage impulse rejection failure. Now, if we get a clean setup here, I actually would take this one, because this is if it works, or if you get the entry confirmation, it becomes very, very fast trade. It's basically like low risk free money. What you have to see is a closure back above this low, that also delivers buy side delivery, which means it sweeps out any kind of a short term high and then closes back below that level. And then you can put a stop loss above whatever that swing high is. But if we reverse back up right now, it becomes the long entry because this is second stage. And if second stage reverses, then it's a long. And I want to get long as fuck. Like I really want to get long. I'm going to get long with big size. Holy crap. What's happening? Now I'll just have to mark a tin on my MT5 on the challenge. But I like how it's coming straight back up. That's good. At this point, I wouldn't take the short if it came back down because it's yeah, I wouldn't. But I'm gonna wait. Silver is getting really close to where the invalidation would be actually, so I might actually. Can I get long silver? I really want to get long silver as well. I can't do that because it's the range, man. Okay, that's a long. That's a long. That's a long, long, long. By the dip, by the dip, by the dip, by the dip. And buy it on my challenge. And buy some more. I don't know how much that was risking even. 20 something bucks. Oh. See, it's so clumsy just trying to click all this stuff and all these buttons constantly. I don't want to be just chasing for no reason, but maybe we can work down below that imbalance right there briefly. Be nice. Or does it just want to rip? The problem with TradingView is it doesn't let me do partial closures, and I've got 0.2 on here. And if that's the only size I manage to get on, then I don't want to close it all at once. So I'm going to have to open up CTrader in order to take the partials. Like I've tried the clicking exit or do the right click close, but it just closes the whole thing all at once. Because this is buying on the right side of the V. I can still buy silver, I guess. If it's hitting higher, I've got the confirmation it's hitting higher, and silver's also hitting higher, then just buy silver. Yeah, yeah. Instant reversal back up as well. In fact, I can buy silver right here with a stop loss right here. That is valid. Yep, I can do that. I can do that. And that's based on this being a strong closure through the midpoint of the range, which hasn't happened yet actually. So wait, happen in 7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cool, buying. And do I buy 2 or 1? Or can I buy more gold? I do like it. I'm going to buy 2. I'm going to buy 2. Putting them both at the same point as well, because if you try and scale into your position while it comes against you, then if it works really well, you're not going to get all your size on. And if it doesn't work and you lose, you're always going to have 100% of your size. So put the whole position size in at once and get filled, please. Luckily, they have a pretty tight spread on Black Bull, which I think is sick. It's usually silver spreads are untradeable. And I'll buy some silver on the challenge and see what gold's doing. Gold is up. Make sure I'm not over risking. Sweet. Okay, okay. I like it. I need to buy higher. So this is a good trade and I like it. And what I like as well is the fact that we closed beyond the midpoint of this range from that high to that low. Get rid of this box. Clear area that sent us to that closure, which is why my stop loss is. Oh no, it only filled one. Oh, I heard 2 beeps and was like, yes, I hit filled both, but. And now here I am hoping it comes back. But at the same time, I hope it doesn't. but maybe it does drop below this short-term low once more, retest the midpoint. A lot of the time it can come pretty low into this range towards the swing point. That's why my stop is clearly below the swing point. I'll leave my limit buy there for now. I'll bring it to the front so I can actually see it. Gold, does gold give me more? If I buy gold, I want to buy it at the midpoint of this wick, basically, which is kind of at the hourly open, so that makes a lot of sense to buy right there. And how much do I want to buy? Well, it doesn't, stop loss doesn't need to be down there. Stop loss can be about, stop loss should really be at the low end of this long wick, so I can reduce risk there a bit. Ah, damn it. It's one of the most frustrating things, just being in a, like, finding a good trade, the trade works, and then it goes without you, of only with half your size or something. There obviously wasn't enough liquidity in the market. I'm a bloody whale with my micro lots. And we're almost back at break even. So TPs on gold. Want to see it blast out this high for sure. But at the minimum, I want to see silver hit this high. So once silver hits this high, then I will be more inclined to manage the position and just make sure that it is showing me what I need to see. The silver is looking really good right now. But yeah, silver could still drop just below this low, just enough to get my fill. It is still within the realm of possibilities. Get rid of those lines because they're distracting. What on earth was that noise? Oh, sweet. Well, at least we're in gold with a bit more size. Now, I spent a bunch of time up here. Really big up closing candle. So this wick does need to hold. And it is so far. And silver is showing that continuation towards this high is a very likely candidate. So I'll keep that in there. I'll trust that this should hold. But pretty aggressive drop down just there. I might buy some more. Would have been nice if it filled me instantly, or if the candles weren't lagging so much that I can't tell where we are actually at. But now I've actually got on something I can take partials with. But yeah, silver ripping into this high. Now that silver's hitting this high, it needs to get above the high and actually push. It can't, if it hits it and rejects lower, and at the same time we're seeing this kind of stuff on gold, then I need to close it out. And what I'll do is I'll bring this window down to my desktop so that if I need to, I can bulk close because it allows me to do that on desktop version only of CTrader. But I won't be adding this position anymore. I need to move it out of the way because that's the premise for this particular entry technique has been met, which means it's no longer valid to add to the position using it. So at least I think it's been met. So if I look at the commodity CFD, no, wrong one. Hasn't hit just yet. Almost hit. So once that hits the high, when we're watching what gold is doing, that's not gold. That's gold. Okay, it's looking good, looking good. I like how we're back above this wick. This wick should ideally be holding now. And I'll quickly change the compare on this to... There's a lot of inefficiency with my workflow at the moment, I can tell. Just the amount I'm moving around and changing symbols and changing templates and all that's a bit clunky, really. Okay, silver hitting this high. That's good. Gold pushing up, looking pretty strong right now. So that's looking really good. I like that. But silver, did silver hit? Didn't quite hit it yet. And when silver hits this high, I want to see speed through this high towards that next swing point. 5 minute time frame. A lot of just hanging out here. I do like that aggressive reaction we got. It's the failure to retest 5K as well. Now that we're pushing up through these highs, I like that we left this wick unfilled. It's also a good look. No wick on this 5 minute candle, just something to notice. Doesn't mean go short. We are now hitting this 15 minutes Fair Value gap again, so I'll see what that looks like on the 5 minutes. That's basically this old swing high. The silver already got the closure beyond this equivalent point. If I show you, go to the 5 minute again. But the equivalent point is basically the midpoint between this swing high and that swing high down there. We've clearly got above it, showing a confirmation of continuation towards this high. And because we're in a squeeze and we're on the right side of the V, we typically won't come down for another sweep. Usually when you're on the right side of the V, it will continue to just move in that direction if you're in a squeeze type condition. Silver's at that high, rejecting back into the range a little bit. Not really what I want. And then we just whipped above that there. But I'm just waiting. Got 2 minutes and a new 15-minute candle will open. New 30-minute candle even. I don't usually look at the 30 minutes. A lot of people do. And so usually people who are quite good at catching the trends. Like people who look at the 30-minute candle, they're usually actual day traders who are trading the daily range kind of thing. But just the fact this was a large range down closing candle, reversed straight back up. And what I really love is the fact we had a clear original consolidation, first stage, second stage, smart reversal, shift, gap, rally. And that's the thing that gave me the confidence to put on this position. But I need that follow through, obviously. Now, luckily, there should always be at least two stages in a market maker buy model. I don't see an intermediate term low right here, other than the fact that it rebalanced this range. Which means that maybe this low shouldn't get taken out, or maybe this is just the low risk buy, and then we're going to get a short-term low, intermediate, and then second stage up through here. But I don't really like how we're rejecting from this impulse high for a second time. That is not a good look. I don't like that at all. We've got 10 seconds left of this candle. It does appear that we're sort of rejecting from here as well. Do I reduce size or not? We'll see what this next candle does. If it fails, if it comes down, then back to break even. I might look to mitigate if it doesn't reject from that previous 5 minute candle low. But I don't want to just get shaken out for no reason. And as I mentioned, this is a squeeze type condition. So if I am correct, then the squeeze will continue in a nice aggressive fashion. But this reminds me a lot of a trade I took a loss on. In fact, that was the big trade I took a loss on the other day where I lost 250 bucks. I was correct on the trade, and my invalidation was somewhere externally, and we got these cuts conditions, and then it continued to sell off, and then perfectly bottom ticks me and ran up. But what I recognize is just this short-term impulse high, the 5 minutes, multiple rejections from that high. So do I close out something? Let's go break even on something, eh? Do I? Probably should. I might just get out of this. Yep, doing it. So basically out of that silver trade, holding on to the gold. Now, just because, as I mentioned, we're getting both those things in one step. We're getting the rejection from the impulse high and a rejection from these highs on gold. Holding on to gold because the structure is still sound. It's still showing the same, like the right things. And that low has to hold now. If it doesn't hold, then I want to be out. Thing is, like, if I drag it up, I'm like, oh shit, I'm up 10 bucks on this $400 account. I should totally be taking profit instead of getting stopped out for $4. But see what gold's doing. Is gold going to come back up? We have 2 minutes left on this 5 minute candle. If this 5 minute candle can come and close above this high, then that is bloody beautiful. I like it. Silver is now pushing higher. If silver can also close back above this swing high, that is great. If not, then I'm screwed on that. Really close to just closing that out. But I don't want to get shaken out for no reason either. Decisions. See, I should have a process of not making so many decisions. Is this an A plus? Is this an alpha type condition? Yes, it is a short squeeze and a high time frame bullish market, which means I shouldn't get shaken out too easily. But if I have this many confirmations saying, oh yeah, we're going to go lower, then I should possibly be listening to that. There we go. Okay. Impulse origin is that. I don't want to come back down. Gold dropping lower. We just spiked higher on silver. It looks like it's rejecting back down. So trail this up a little bit. Once gold hits this flat bottom candle, I want to see a nice strong rejection from that. And at the same time, if silver continued to push up, that's great. But looking like it might want to dip down a bit lower. So silver should get stopped out in a second here. Gold not looking too promising somehow. I just don't like that rejection from that high. Just too much rejection for multiple candles. So that's that silver trade is out. There's my my buying pressure from the stop outs. Wait, no, it's a sell stop. But yeah. Okay. Instantly reversing back up. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm not adverse to adding to this position, but I would need to see it like this fail first because currently we are still rejecting from these highs. If silver can get up here and show some continuation confirmation, then I'd look for a micro signature in gold to add to the position. But until then, I need to see gold continue pushing before getting in, because this is very much a rejection kind of scenario. And then if silver comes up here and once again rejects from this high aggressively, then I might just cut the position entirely. Luckily, that whole time I wasn't even thinking about my challenge account, so I'm still in that silver position there, and I'm going to trail up my stop. But yeah, silver hitting that same swing point again, and if it begins dropping low aggressively, I might just do close all. Maybe I'll leave one on. Otherwise, big blast off would be ideal. And if we can get that closure, it'd be nice to be back in that silver again. But this is what I mean, like a balance of getting shaken out and not getting shaken out. This is going to be pivotal right here. If we can get back up here, close above this, then we are on. We are on for sure. Silver coming up. I want to see that continue to show speed through the high. I'll just draw this all the way out so we can see it reacting on that 5-minute time frame. Once again, we've still got this midpoint, liquidity midpoint. It's not so significant anymore, honestly. I'm going to delete that. That wick. In fact, we closed below it, spent some time below it, then eventually pushed up back through it. It's nice. I really love this, the market maker model reversal. Call this first stage, I suppose. We did get a closure back above it on silver, so that's looking really strong now. I might add on my challenge account to silver. I might, since I've got no risk on it now, to buy one. Actually, I'm going to wait for gold to show that it's actually going to continue. So gold has to not reject from up here, which means that I have to move my stop here, which means I've got no risk on, which means if I want to add, I can get bigger, bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, shouldn't take out that low, or I want to blow this low because this is technically the intermediate term low because it balanced that range. And I don't want to start forcing my will on price. That's one sure way to get bottom ticks and then it goes in your direction. So I don't want to see it come down here, but if it does, I'll let it do that and then it just needs to react straight back up. But yeah, it definitely doesn't need to come down here anymore. If silver can get a closure above this midpoint, I will add to gold even if it's still below this high. Or if we're above that midpoint and we get a nice pullback, we'll add silver. So the two scenarios, I don't like that did not close yet. But there's silver getting a nice rip. I mean, silver is the one that I'd kind of rather be in. But structurally on gold it is showing that structure. Well, I'm out of Red Bull. I went and bought some Red Bull earlier, so I'm gonna go get a refill so I can concentrate. Nothing just yet at all. 3 minutes, new 15-minute candle. We are nearing the top of the hour, which is going to be significant. I'm going to trail my stops on my challenge as well, I guess. If it does push through this high, what is the game plan? I do like this range right here because this is like the New York session aggressively sells off. So whoever is short from the New York session, if the stops aren't here and we are going to squeeze out the highs, that's the next location for us to reach for. So if we do start pushing from here, this should be a very aggressive push. I love the fact we didn't dip very deep into this range at all. Very shallow pullback. That's exactly what you want to see in a squeeze. I think ICT teaches it as institutional order flow entry drill, which is a very shallow retracement below a low and reaction back out. Very strong signature. So that does support the thesis of this being a squeeze. Silver did not close beyond that, so keeping that in mind, but looks like gold might needs to get above this and close above it. And it looks like it's going to do it on the new 15-minute candle, ideally. Now, what happens if yet another candle rejects down? I might close at least something. So if we reject down from here without getting above it, I'll close one out. But hold the remainder. Unless we get a closure above this at the same time, then I'll reassess. But okay, well, it did close above on the 5/15. Does that mean it can now push or not? I don't have any clean looking way to add right now. Five minutes on the right, and then 15 on the left, 1 hour. You can kind of see that we're now pushing out. It looks like we spent a good amount of time accumulating below the hourly open. And we have broken that high. So it's now officially fails to reject. So I'm quite confident in this position now. I would say it would be reasonable, depending on how much risk I have on, to add. I've only got 20 bucks of risk here. Okay, well, let's add something. At least add one. Buy. Just lags so much. The only reason I don't use MT5 is because I'm using MT5 for my challenge account and I'm charting on this anyway, so I might as well have my personal open here, have my challenge account on MT5 and then go from there. But where's a good place to get in? Right here, probably. This is basically an impulse rejection failure, an impulse high that was trying to reject price. It just failed to reject price, which means that you buy. That's what it means. Silver pushing up nicely. I want to quickly show what we're doing over here. So this is that challenge account. Looking to add back into gold over here as well. And targeting, I don't know what the targets are just yet, so I'll keep that in mind. But I don't want to get out of sold just yet. I will trail the stop off a bit. Possibly two. If I go over to silver and have a look. I mean, silver just needs to hit this high basically. That's like a very obvious minimum target. Once silver does hit this high, then I'd be more inclined to manage on gold. I might make that my silver target. Yeah, I think that's a very good target. And it's just above 90 even, so I'll do 94.20. That's what I'll do, because that tends to, in fact, we've just hit 94.20 just about. Can't even see what price I'm putting it at. I still like this actually. So even if, I mean, my stop is pretty tight. So I'll continue holding on to this position. I like the fact that this rejection has now failed. And so I still anticipate a nice push out of this area. It might only happen in the new hour. I don't know, but yeah, see if I can get this position. Well, you could hear my order go through on C Trader prior to the the fill that I got on here. So limit orders, they fill at the right time because it's, it's already at the broker. It's just like the visuals don't really show up. So I'd be interested to see how fast does a limit order show up. XAU. If I do right click buy limits. Okay, it showed up in like 1 second on the C Trader. So we do right click and it's there. So it's like half the time that it takes to show up on here, the order is actually in the market. So it's good to know that. Cool, added. We also added on this platform as well. Should try myself up a little bit more, I guess, as well. Now, what I'm seeing this is, how I'm seeing this is a consolidation. We've got first stage, we have second stage, reversal, first stage, and then ideally another second stage, and that should ideally line up with silver pumping into the highs. If second stage aligns with the new hourly candle as well, that can be significant. This is just a bit messy though. I'm not the biggest fan of how it's just ranging, but then also breaking the highs. But I do like the fact that we were already rejecting from the highs and then we just ran it out again, which is kind of like, it's a failure to reject the highs. That's why I'm pretty confident with my stop down here below the low, not above it, is that, yeah, they actually need to be below the low. They can't be above, that's for sure. And that's assuming my broker does it to the tick, so I should probably give it an extra tick or two. But I think this position I've literally got like $30 of risk on. I think that's a $10 risk, 5, 5, and then the other one's 10. So that's all good. And then on the challenge account, the silver positions, like stop is $5 in profit. It's about to hit TP actually. And then with the gold, I'm risking $37. So it's a 5K challenge. So I think that's pretty good risk management for that. I put this in the freezer and the top part froze. Now it's got this kind of gooey substance in the top, which is all the stuff that's separated out of it's like a gooey ice all the stuff that's separated out of the actual energy drink. To buy the dip or not to buy the dip? Yes. We'll see if silver can hit this low and at the same time get a fill. Beautifully timed. Stop loss. I am very happy with that. There are absolutely zero inefficiencies below down here, so I'm happy with my stop being down there. I'm just very aware that golds can come down and make perfect equal lows, and then go in your direction, and I don't want that to be spiked out because the broker's likely trying to hunt my stop at the same time, and yeah. Lovely long wick, dropping below that, taking out this short-term internal range low, but basically perfectly tapping it, getting a beautiful reaction back out. So I like that a lot. It does look clean. Does it clean? And we are $3 away from being break even on the day, or we were after all this. New 5 minute candle. I like how that wick forms right in the last minute of the candle. But I only like it if we then go up. I just got bottom ticked on silver on my challenge account perfectly. So bought here, sold there. That's a winner. That reminds me of a pattern that happened down here. Just need to jump over and look over. I think in fact it was here, a 5 minute time frame. I can't see it. This is either when I should be buying a absolute shit ton or preparing to lose. It's like I don't have any information to suggest exactly what I should do right now, other than trusting that this structure should hold. That's the only information I have. I mean, it's not every day you get such high risk reward opportunities. Risking an extra $2.30. I can do that. Probabilities are the same. Coming into the new hour. Damn it. Alright, well, all good. Maybe this is the intermediate term low and it's going to reverse. I don't know, but. New hourly candle is about to open, and it's like, I think we likely take out this low again then. Looks like this was a bit of a failure swing, dropping back down. We've got SMT on the highs as well. We did still fail to reach that key point of interest on silver. So it is still a long. So I'm still very interested in a long. But I'm not just going to buy as soon as I get stopped out. I mean, 1 minute left of this candle. It's kind of frustrating. As long as it doesn't go up, this next candle, if this opens up in 20 seconds and just blasts off 1,000,000 points, I don't know. But I'm going to stay up for now. I can imagine, oh, maybe this is short-term low and this is the intermediate term low, but no, I already said no inefficiencies in this range. So it kind of invalidates it. It's likely to take out this low. Once it does, I am very keen to get long still. Ideally silver, honestly. I'd prefer to get long silver still. And silver is a valid long if it comes down towards this low. If we come down to the low of day, I'd be pretty keen to buy, just have a stop down below this impulse. So new hourly candle has opened up. How would I know if it is a long from here? Yeah, I don't know. It looks like a short to me anyway. There we go. Very volatile at these hourly candle opens, especially 2000. I'm not sure exactly what happens there, but definitely volatile. Still very keen to buy the dip at the moment. Will be the back side of the move though, not the front side, unless we get really close to this blue magic line, and then I'll be more inclined to just buy the dip. Probably around 79 or so. But yeah, very aggressive drop. Got silver sitting over here as well. Want to see how deep silver wants to go. Now, silver doesn't need to take out this low at all. It really doesn't. Gold is taking out a whole bunch of sell side just there. So that's fine. If silver is unable to get below this low, shows some strength, then it could be a long. But yeah, a bit of a failure swing on gold and aggressively selling off. So I don't want to just buy that. But I am interested in silver, very interested for a long on silver. And then I just literally have my stop loss down there. It's like I don't know about $50 though. I'll buy silver on the way down if it can get down to the low of day. If it can't get down that far, then I'll buy it on the way back up. But I'm going to be watching anyway what we do inside this range. What are all these lines? Get rid of that. My chart's already feeling a little bit on the messy side somehow. Equal opening prices. This can represent a original consolidation. It's interesting to see the genesis of a move, which this being a failure swing could actually indicate a bit deeper of a retracement, but still looking for us to continue this bullishness. And as I mentioned, on silver, it is showing a willingness to reach this high. Okay, if we aggressively move up from here on gold, we get a closure beyond the midpoint between these two swing points. So, but on the 1 minute time frame, between these two swing points, I want to see a closure beyond there. If we get that, then I'll get long silver. But yeah, this is looking a bit on the heavy side right now. And just the fact that these hourly opening prices are equal does suggest it could come a bit lower into the range. That looks quite heavy right there. So yeah, right at this moment, it looks like a short. But I'm not bearish, and I'm actually bullish. It looks like it should be a long, but the price action is not showing much bullishness. We do have SMT on the lows. Silver is squeezing. It has failed to take out this low so far. If we get a closure back above this on gold, then I'll be very inclined to get long really, really fast on silver with multiple contracts. I like that. It's a bit of a failure swing. They both had a failure swing, however. So make sure I am ready to spam the buy button on 25 as well. But nothing just yet. What I like about this is that it's very objective. And it needs to be objective. Because otherwise you'll be like, oh no, I'll just buy now because it's a better price. But then it's just going to go straight back down to these lows. I like the fact that we've already run out this on the way up, but then we're running out this again and spending a bunch of time up here. I think that supports the bull case. Whoops. 30-minute engineered a very long wick. Trailer stop's going to go below that, and then it rolls over into them. Just want to see how much it wants to take those out. I need to make sure I don't get filled accidentally though. Oh dear. Maybe I should close that out for now until I'm ready. But yeah, if it does sell off aggressively into this range, I'm happy to buy down here. So lower low, higher low, high high, lower low. If we reverse right here at 2011 and get a CSD, no. Failure to go into that wick, showing heaviness. That 2000 open also worked up above the short-term high and rejected aggressively. Now, does it come right next to low and fail to take it out? Because that is also bullish. Or does it just melt on through? Because we've got the SMT on the highs as well. So, okay, it's coming low. I will buy here very happily. I just don't know if it's going to reach down that far. Got a fill on my challenge account just there. The spike into this short-term low. But yeah, I can't exactly, I don't want to put on $60 of risk, so I'm going to keep this one down here. The idea is, does it get a spike down to this level and react straight back up? If we do, though, this is that key point of interest that we've got the impulse origin. If we're squeezing up, then I'd expect this to remain intact, which is why I've got a stop down there. And if we do get a nice reaction, then I can buy on the right side of the V on the way back up as well, which just involve looking at the 15-second time frame and the 1 minute, as well as at what time we make the low in reverse. Be getting a new 15-minute candle as well. Ideally, if we can reverse right at the new 15-minute candle open, that would be insane. But I mean, so far this candle pretty aggressive push lower on this hourly candle. But that top wick, that was only in 1 minute, so it's a very brief top wick. So I'm just thinking, can this hourly candle, is it reasonable for it to flip bullish and close up here? Gold hitting that midpoint right now. Okay, we're in. We are in. I want to add one more as well if we get low enough. Oh, I need to have a stop in anyway. That's essential. That'll be that. So if we do get a reaction out of this area, get nice and high up. Oh, we're happening. Okay, it is happening right on the new 15-minute candle. That is a very, very good confluence, but it doesn't mean just buy. So we want to wait. Gonna buy there. Buying because it's back at the lows, but once it reaches back up, yeah. Now just see if we get the right side of the B. So I'm buying at the um, I mean, this trade worked perfectly yesterday, so it might work today. It might not. Oh, it did not fill me on this account. That's weird. I'll quickly screenshot it as I see what happens, I guess. Yeah, really aggressive drop lower. Really, really aggressive. Stop loss is in a very specific location. And if it comes lower, then it's like, well, no idea where it'll go to. So this is it. Challenge accounts. Somehow I put two micro lots on. One of them I obviously forgot to move the stop into the right location because it stopped out. So I'll hold on to that for now. But if this goes back up, I want to get big in it. Like I don't want to just go, yay, got a good entry. I want to trail my stop, reduce risk, but then really fucking add into this thing. And how I will do so, you need to remember that this is an hourly candle. It's just expanded this far. And is it going to react all the way back up? I like how we've got a nice strong bodies down closing candle on the 15 minutes, I think. Yeah. So if we do start heading back up, I'd just be measuring out from the hourly candle open down to the current low. I want to see if we can get above the midpoint of that and hold above it with a strong closure. Then I'd use the same principles I just talked about earlier. Looking at gold as well. First of all, how much risk do I actually have on? So we got 27 plus 37, so like $64 of risk, which for this account is, it's not light. Okay, just watching this wick. New 5 minute candle incoming. I like how this wick is forming right at the last minute of this candle, and that's taking out this internal range. If that can actually flip bullish now, that'd be nice, but we'll see. We will see. And there you go. So basically 130 down on the day. That'll be my demo trade getting stopped out as well. So clearly just was incorrect on this particular idea right now. I'll be done for today now, or we're done for the session anyway, because the trade idea I had did not play out how I hoped it would. And yeah, that failure swing right there and aggressively dropping down, that resulted in such a beautiful sell-off. But yeah, maybe it just wasn't a squeeze. I'll have to come back and see afterwards, after the facts, like what actually happens. But yeah, it's clearly expanding lower at the moment in aggressive fashion. Is it coming down to reaccumulate? Could be. But reaccumulate where? I'm not just going to dip by this, so going to walk away for a bit and come back later on and see exactly where we are at. In the meantime, to distract myself, I'll just show you Shoals, SHLS, and what I'm seeing on it. So I've got 100 shares on total, and you can see that they're spread out a lot. And I'll show this is on a CFD, so you can't really see that much on it. It looks a bit weird, but if we go to SHLS, NASDAQ, let's see. Cool. So Shoals, I mean, it's been up here a lot. This is a solar company. Solar is a big theme for AI. 2022 low, a major support resistance level. We run above it. We consolidate above it, find that support, then sell off. We take out not only the sell side from prior to running above it, but we also take out the sell side below that, which is where I was put on my initial position. It's then consolidating below it. Really, luckily I had a nice wide stop and I wasn't too worried about it. Consolidating, breaks out above this resistance level. After breaking out, it comes straight back down, sweeps out a short-term low, continues to consolidate. Everyone's getting frustrated with it. And then has another big breakout. Straight after the breakout, instantly sells off on a Friday and sells off aggressively. Then following that, on Monday, small up close day. Tuesday, up close day. And if you look at NASDAQ on this Tuesday candle, NASDAQ had a down day, a very big down day. So it's showing relative strength to the NASDAQ while it's breaking out above this key level after having already tripped in longs above that level and then swept out the lows. So I really liked it right here. So I added a whole bunch last night. I added some this morning as well. And if we drop to a LA time frame real quick, just to see what it looks like. I see very much consolidating, but that line breaking out down the 5 minute. This is the price action. So Friday selling off, Monday consolidating below, then a quick rally up, engineering a turn range on Tuesday, and then aggressively selling off today, really deep into the range, taking out this turn range. My stop loss is just below this low. As I added right here, and then it ripped into the close. And it looks very aggressive in the close. Like that looks like it's probably going to gap up. So I really like this position. I think it's could do really well. ENPH as well. Beautiful gap up. So I'll show the actual chart first. ENPH. Go on the 24-hour in the top corner. This is earnings actually that sends us up, but these guys do what do they do again? Semiconductors. So semiconductor company, another theme that's in play at the moment. Heaps of smooth highs, heaps of reason to run them out. I zoomed in, I was like, okay, well, we're accumulating all the sell side down here. We're giving indication of a potential squeeze, and as we're crawling towards these highs, we are just failing to take out any lows. We got this big blast off here, and so I bought all the way up here actually, and has a deep pullback, but then eventually earnings just blasted off. I had to stop lossing down quite low in the range, so I was quite safe with it. BH, but if I go to my stock or the stock position, 12 hour maybe. See what the 12-hour looks like. But you can see that's, yeah, entry all the way up here. Nice wide stop. Gapped up, I put 2 on. I wanted to add more, but when it gaps up this much, like I decided, okay, I'll take half off, be rude not to, and then the rest I'll leave, and then see if I can get a re-entry with some more size at some point, and then yeah, because it looks like it is moving quite nicely, doing what I wanted to see. And the other ones, Sedge, also solar theme. It's only just started, like it's not been doing as well. It literally came so close to my stop loss today. I mean, it went past my drawing, but my stop loss were just down here, so it just fell short. Ripped straight back up, so it's looking really safe. It's also solar, and I just like it because we have a very obvious impulse high we've failed to reach already. We've got the 50s up here, so that one looks pretty clean. 1, 2, 3 drives into the lows. Okay, we need to jump back on this real quick. Just so we can actually look at what's happening and be involved with the markets if it requires it. So we've just had a 3 drives into the lows. Bit of a reaction right there. It is a deep discount. We did just hit this short-term low down here. I might just buy some gold. Low risk. Start a position. So like I took out this hourly candle low while doing 3 drives into it. Manipulation closure, instant reversal back up. Maybe. If this gets a CSD, I might just jump in right there. Yeah, I'm buying. Kind of risky buying like at the first actual reversal signature. Especially when it's basing like this. But it is showing a signature that could suggest this could be the low. Gold is confirming with a 3 drive while taking out the sell side. And there's our reaction so far. Now, where do I add? I add if we can get beyond the midpoint between these 2 swing points, which looks promising so far. It looks good. We screenshot that. Okay, this is looking good. It's looking good, looking good, looking good. New 15-minute candle, instantly ripping. I like that. If we're going to trap traders down here, we don't need no bottom work. Once we close above this high, if we can close above that midpoint and get a slight pullback, how high does it go? The thing is, within this range, where are the stops? Are they here? Yes, okay. Where are they here? Probably not. Are they here? Maybe. Are they here? Yes, there are stop losses up here. Where's price going to go? It's going to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out this range and I'm going to look for a closure beyond the midpoint of this range from that low to the high. I could use that high, but this is the hourly candle. So, oh, it's a 15-minute candle actually, but I don't know. But this has a lot of potential right now. Because we've already hit this high, I don't want to just add right here. But I do want to add. But this is a Genesis type condition. Look for expansion, a short-term low be made, and then that get rated out. This is an hourly candle though, so it's like, is it reasonable for this hourly candle to close bullish? I mean, in this type of environment, it's pretty freaking insane, the candles, so anything could happen. Anything could happen. But I'm just thinking, does this just dump instantly down or does this go up? I'm bullish. We have got a reversal pattern down here. Gold is showing indications of a squeeze. I'm going to leave silver where it is. And if I add, I'm going to try and add gold because gold has the look of being able to squeeze up to this high. But I don't know. Should I be which range should I measure out? I should probably measure out this range. I think the eight, the 2000 open, like high is a bit arbitrary. This is really EQ of this drop down. I want to see a strong closure through this midpoint. So get above and hold is what I want to see. What I might do is if silver gives me a nice exit, take something off silver and rotate into gold instead, because silver is quite high risk. Take one of silver off, just one. Reducing risk on that because I have had situations where it's worked above a high like this and then just instantly reverse. And with this particular signature, it either indicates that this is the start of a massive move or that it's the start of us coming down to accumulate this low, which would be me. And I don't really feel like getting accumulated today. And as a compromise, I'm going to look to aggressively scale into this gold long. Should it offer a clean opportunity? Which it should. So rating this hourly candle low, I suppose you could call this the impulse origin. Honestly, a down closing range. There's also a failure swing that failed to take out that low. That is the order block that we got the SMT with silver on. Okay, getting a nice strong push up through here. I like that a lot. Now, can gold close with a ridiculous looking wick? Yes, it can. And it should. Oh, right. Well, I mean, silver did confirm that we're likely to hit this high. That is an original consolidation, indicating that we are wanting to come back up there. This is a key reversal signature. This pattern, this signature forms at reversals. I need to be also adding on to challenge. So the challenge account I was running just hit max. Well, didn't hit it, but it's down 180 on the day. And if you get down 200 on the day, then it fails the challenge completely. So I have to stop trading that one. I do have a spare one, however, which I pulled out for this special occasion. That's this one here. So Freshy. I'm long silver on it. Want to get long gold as well. And gold is looking like it's very healthy. And because gold's healthy, there's no point taking anything off of this silver trade at all. The only thing I should be looking to do is add to this gold trade. I want to monitor the 5-minute time frame. I want to see if there are anything on the left side of the curve I should be looking at. And nothing really. I'd only be watching what happens when we get up here, which is the impulse high anyway. This looks like it can really nicely continue pushing higher. So buy at 72 even. That hasn't given me the clearest structure of where to put the stop just yet. Except I wouldn't anticipate it coming all the way down here. But you can see no wick and I mean, this is the impulse origin. This is where the stop should go, because this is the moment that trap traders on the wrong side. You could say the same thing over here as well, but what I'm expecting is us to drop down. Hopefully, give me a bit of extra size. I can add another couple in. But if not, then come on, silver. Come on. Probably a good thing I took that one off. Gold really showing their strength right now. But what I'll have to expect is silver to eventually follow suit. But yeah, gold holding quite nicely up in this premium, which is why I'm comfortable buying some more. And I'll be able to set up some limit buys on here as well. Oh, I'm just practicing holding trades basically, I guess. As you can see, like every trade, I'm like make 20%, lose 20%, make 20%, lose 20% of my account balance. So silver getting a bit of a pump just here. Kind of nice that we didn't take out that lower tool. That gives me a bit of confidence that, okay, maybe it's about to start pushing. I love how we spent so much time down in this area and then we pumped higher. Okay, here we go. This is how I can measure it. Buy side pull, buy side pull. Can we close above the midpoint? If we can close above the midpoint, that is high probability long. If we don't manage to, that's not so good. But we're in anyway. So we'll find out, I guess. But if we get above here and close, then that would be a reason to add even more. But yeah, that's the precise location you don't really want it to reject from, ideally. Silver not doing a very nice thing right now. I don't really like that. Might kill silver. Yep, I'm out. I just don't like how it's aggressively dropping to low like that while we're rejecting from that midpoint. And that manipulation closure, as I mentioned, that can indicate either that this is going to rip in one direction or that it's going to come back down here. And so far, it's just not showing any strength at all. I've got more size on gold now, so I'm still happy. Would have been nice to have taken profit at some point at the highs. So I think I made like $8 on that trade instead of what could have been $45. But yeah, I'm going to hold on to this until we can get a closure above that midpoint. Then I'll add. In the meantime, I'm going to get a coffee because I need to go faster. And I'm actually getting cold sitting here drinking an ice cold energy drink and not moving a muscle. But yeah, if New 15-minute candle. Might want to take out this long wick. Beginning to develop what looks like some trend line highs. Don't like that, to be honest. I think I can easily sweep out this wick again. I was just imagining that we could just drift down slowly into these lows. And I also don't like what silver's doing right here. So I'm flat out of silver on both my challenge and personal. Just got these two on here, risking 30 bucks total. In order for me to add, I need either silver to stop being a cunt or gold to get a closure above this. Whichever one happens first, then I'll happily get back in and add. But otherwise, 15 minutes left of the hour is clearly going to, very likely it's going to close of a down close. And who knows, we could drift very deep into this range before reversing back up. Stop loss below the impulse origin, which is that short-term impulse low that started this displacement. So I simply anticipate us not to reach that point. But I do think we could easily squeeze higher. Now, closure above this line is going to be key. I mean, it is showing all the signs of reversing back up. You have to also think, however, like what sell side did we hit? We didn't hit this low. There weren't really much in the way of a significant swing low in through here. It's kind of all flat. But I suppose you would call this the impulse origin. Like if this is, in fact, that makes sense. If this is a buy side delivery all the way up through this range, that means that this is what? This is the impulse origin. This is what the start of that impulsive move. We came right down to it. We did not take it out. That's in alignment with the squeeze and what you'd anticipate at least. And then on silver, where did we come down to? So I labels that the impulse origin. And that's because that is just a down closing range, but it didn't actually take out any short-term low. So I suppose it's not really an order block. We came all the way down to here. But I suppose in this particular instance, there isn't really, I suppose you could call this it. But we did take that out. So yeah, I don't really know, but looks like it's potentially reversing back up. Maybe we just put a wick on this candle's low. Just what I would love to see on silver is if it just continues to downtrend and then just falls short of this low and aggressively runs back up. So how's this 4-hour chart going to close? Putting in the bottom wick at the moment. We rallied, fell short of buy side, dropped down aggressively into this previous area. Then what do? Oh, we're sitting down here for a bit. Oh, what's gold doing? Oh, we gotta get it. We gotta get it. Uh, yeah, that counts. That counts for sure. I'm buying. I'm gonna buy the dip. If we can get back below that short-term low. There we go. Does that mean buy right here or stop there? I think it does. I think so. Well, it just means that we won't take out this low before hitting this high, most likely. So maybe I shouldn't have bought so high. But have the stop loss in the right place anyway. Yeah, added anyway. So we'll see. Um, hmm. So I want to get in with more size. Maybe I can use gold to confirm a silver long, since silver is lower, and get back into my silver trade. Now that I've failed to reach that, I might buy silver. Yeah, buy silver. Oh, $30 risk though, you know? It's like, is that over risking or what? Maybe. We'll have to commit to it if I want to do it. Mm, that's premature. I shouldn't be in that. What's this? Spike above the high. So I just took like an $8 haircut right there just because I impulsively jumped in on the trade. Why? Because gold's really strong, and so I was scared to buy gold, and so I bought silver instead, which was weak. Better to risk $30 buying the strong one than $30 buying the weak one. But I mean that stops a bit on the big side, really. It's not it's not ideal, and that's very like you could say, oh, you just drew your line a fraction too low. Oh dear. Might take that one off actually, just because it's a pretty shitty fill. Shitty fill, and then you got silver selling off. And it was a very marginal closure. Like I don't even know if I'd count it. I want to see it actually get up there and hold up there. That is key. It needs to hold up there. So close just getting out of that. Why? Because silver is just not doing the right thing. Just taking out the highs, rejecting from those highs. It's got a long wick that it's dropping aggressively into. It has this original consolidation potentially down here. And gold is not showing any follow through, any confirmation. This does look like a reversal, but this doesn't look like it's quite yet. And I want to time my entry in a way that's going to give me a high probability. I don't like. There's no point risking, um, 20% of my accounts on a trade that's just not showing me everything I need to see. As much as I want it to squeeze up, it's just not doing it yet, just yet. And this line, we never got two 5-minute candle closures above without retesting it. We just instantly retested it. New hourly candle, I suppose just wait for that. Holding on to one because impulse origin down here, like if it is going to go up, that should hold, and it's very close to my break even anyway, so Hold on to that. If silver takes out this low and we drop down into this area, be very intrigued. And what I want to do is buy on the way back up. I don't want to buy on the front side of the move, ideally. But in saying that, I've got a very clear invalidation. So if I was to buy on the front side, and it gave me a tight entry, then I can do if it gets down to here. I mean, that would be a pretty tight entry. So I'm down $73 on the from the equity high I had up here. No, yeah, from equity high, my break even is, and I'm not focused on my break even. That's just it is what it is. But it is really amazing how often I end up at break even. I think I actually looked at my accounts the other day. This is after taking the two massive losses. I went to all time trades, and it came to like $4 profit on this particular account. And that's after taking some massive losses. I've made a bunch of that back now, so it should be profitable by now. But after taking hundreds and hundreds of trades, it's just come back to the exact same point, which is mad. I'm going to buy one just here because it's very close to invalidation. And silver is hitting that low at this exact same moment. If silver does spike lower, where does it go to? Probably down right here. Be looking for that. But it should be able to tap me in just there. Silver hasn't quite spiked below it yet. Okay, that's in. I don't want to see a closure below this midpoint. But I'm not worried about this coming down because with this particular type of setup, it can come all the way down really close to it. But I do want to watch what's happening on these other time frames as well. It is almost the new hourly candle, so I really like how this is lining up with a new hour. Which could be a reason to add a bit more. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more just because it's just like if it's going to do an aggressive move like this right before the new hour, they could easily rip straight back up from there. And it could also go down, but the upside is a lot greater. We've got SMT on the lows, clear invalidation, three drive pattern into the lows, well, fairly clear invalidation at least, but it's a new hourly candle, so there's also that extra volatility at the open, which I should have accounted for, but coming really, really bloody close to that. We got silver dropping down into that point that I had marked out as a point of interest. I might buy one silver just because it's right there now and buy. Very tight in validation, so stop loss is below the midpoint between that low and that one. So just down here, we have gold just tapped that low. It's not ideal. Not ideal at all. What if we measured out these? Because that is kind of the swing low, but I don't know. Let's screenshot what we're doing so I can remember what I'm doing. So it's turning to custard again, it looks like. Can it reverse or can it not? Is the question. And if it can reverse, how aggressively can it reverse? And where do I edge if I am right? But yeah, interesting. Midpoint between those two pools. Did it close above it? Well, now that I put my line in the right place, we can see that no, it didn't really. And it actually clearly rejected from specifically that level. This is kind of what I've rotated to using rather as opposed to fair value gaps. Fair value gap is going, oh, yep, this low to that high. But if you measure out the swing points, it's a very, very specific level, and it's usually pretty easy to see. So if you're bearish and you see this, you're like, cool, I'm adding. It's partly why, yeah, I was just happy getting out there. But spending some time down here, it might want to sweep out this low, honestly. It really could. I'd like the silver position better at this time, partly because gold's just so close to my stop, and to my, as I said, my originally I was saying, oh yeah, my invalidation's here, but it's just tapped that. Now I've moved my stop a little bit lower. I suppose it should really be below the midpoint of that third drive of the candle. So it's like no way I want to get stopped out for $1 and then it rips. I'd rather risk one more dollar and have it below. So I'm looking at this third drive. So we've got 1, 2, 3 drive pattern. I put my stop loss below the midpoint of that range. Silver I like because my stop loss is literally all the way down here. And this is the impulse low that sent us above the midpoint. If you like on the high time frame, this is a significant area. And this is also where in the PM session, we were enticing people to short, enticing people to short, enticing people to short, shorting, and then ripping straight back up aggressively. So a lot of stuff and narratives and stuff happened there. But yeah, we'll see what happens because this doesn't look that good on gold, not gonna lie. Auto silver engineering liquidity, rallying, consolidating, taking it out. Yeah, mouse gold. I'll just might as well mark out this order block so that I can record that in my screenshot as well. Shit happens, I guess, doesn't it? Okay, last position, and then I'm done. It's like if this 3 drive pattern is failing on gold, that is not very bullish. I think that's just didn't work this time. I might kill this. Yeah, I'm killing it. Not worth it anymore. Cool, I'm done for the day with that. Unfortunately, total down from the highs, $142 down, which is not ideal. I think this, if I go on demo real quick, I want to see what happens if I short gold. So let's try this out. My thinking is if we have 1, 2, 3 drives and the third drive fails, then you just sell. And I'm just going to front run it and assume, whoops, assume that the third drive is failing right now. But basically, 3 drives should reverse price. When that fails to happen, then that third drive becomes like your that's a yeah, that third drive is like that should hold price under. It's kind of a little model that I've been testing. Well, I haven't really been testing, I've been observing. So just see if that does anything. In fact, what I can do is I'll look at executions real quick. Settings, executions. So there's the silver, buying, getting out, buying the dip, thinking that it wouldn't go below this low. It goes below that low, all goods. Get that signature. I was like, cool, buy. That works really nicely. Took something off because it wasn't showing me the follow through I needed, and it's like, this could reject, then closed it out. Well played. Impulsively got in. I was like, no, I can't do that. One more time. Okay, this has to hold. It didn't hold. So, not too bad executions. Honestly, I did alright on silver. We then have gold over here. Might as well open up gold as well. So gold, this would be the entry on gold at the moment. That's Bitcoin. So gold, let's say you're going short, you'd short right here with a stop loss above this. This is just a random observation. I want to see if it works. 3 drives that fails. But if we look at gold, you can see got a nice, where is my fill on this? Move this thing out of the way. Beautiful. I love how they manipulated on my broker, but they filled me right at the tick high. That's nicely done. Let's see. So zooming in, just to quickly go over my trades, and we'll look at what gold's doing. But closing out position, perfectly top ticking the highs just about on both of those. Then thinking, okay, well, it's probably going to keep on just squeezing. I'm going to buy here with a tight stop. I'm proven right. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to add. I add, it fails to reach up the midpoint of this with significant long wick. Gracefully sells off. I'm like, cool, I'm out. That's potentially going to squeeze lower. And then comes down and reverses back up. Got a confluence. So I'm like, cool, buy. Bought more, recognized that it was failing above this high. And was like, okay, this needs to keep on going. It then closes above. I'm like, yay, it's working. It's going to go higher. Add to it. Add to it. And stopped out at that low. That was indeed invalidating the trade. And in fact, that's closure above the high that we'd already been rejecting. If anything, that was actually, you could maybe class that as a manipulation closure as well. Something that should have continued but failed to, kind of like a failed breakout kind of thing. If something that should have been fails, that gives you the best trades. Can you stopped out? So I added one more there, I think got stopped out basically. So pretty small losses up here. Then we come down, I see the 3 drives, I buy. I see also the manipulation closure on, there we go, beautiful. So if we jump back over to that demo account, we can see that that is working. Question is, what do you want to target? So there's 9, the 20s is a good spot. I'll take 3 off down there. Do 3 and 3 and 2. So limit by 3 at 20 something just before hitting ERL. So 22 would be my pick, 22.2, pretty safe. And then we'll take 3 off down here below the 1400 low. And then hold 2 as a runner. And now that it's pushing like this, I'll just leave the stop up there just because. So buying on that third drive with the confluence of silver, adding after we get above this, but we didn't really close above it on the 5 minute multiple times. It was only in the 1 minute. I recognized this range between here and here, and I used that correctly, other than thinking that we closed above it when we didn't where I added, but I got out of it, recognized, okay, it's looking crap actually. Aggressive sell off, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy because it shouldn't come down here. It comes down there. I move my stop a little bit further away just in case, and then it comes lower. And that's a good sound, by the way. That's the sound of my TP being hit on my demo account. Yeah. Um, so trail that. Might as well trail the stop now, I suppose. No point coming back. But yeah, there's a cool little framework. 3 drives that fails and sells off. And there's a few stocks that I was actually looking at that I kind of wanted to see that happen on. I will finish this first, but yeah, getting stopped out down here for a loss. So, I mean, to be fair, I think my trading was all right. I had that was from the PM session. That was when I bought down here. I had 1 attempt at the long, 2 attempts at the long, 3 attempts, and then I tried adding down here basically while it was going against me. So 3 attempts at a buy, and then on silver, and it was bearish. So I think I did all right to only lose 140 when doing that. That is, oh my goodness, what a melt. All right, maybe it's going to head down after all. So the question is, like, where is it going? I wonder. Okay, there's our next TP hit. So at this point, how would manage this position as we go to the 2 minute time frame? I do a 2 minute trailing stop. If we are going to be heavy, the previous 2 minute candle high should not get taken out. That is how it works. There's maths. Obviously, when it's so extended, you'd be like, damn, I just want to take at least something off down here. With deep discount on channel range, such as down this low, very good chance it wants to bounce at some point. But 2 minute trailing stop is the way to go, and see how deep you can hold it using that technique. We're going to get rid of executions. We'll quickly look at price and see if it's actually going anywhere specific. Bruh, it's absolutely dying. I mean, you got to take 1 off in a spark like that. Because it's such a big gap between the current stop loss location and the next one. And once this breaks that low, the stop loss would have to go there. So it's like, now it's getting really extended. But yeah, that was a cool entry. Oh, that's right. I need to check where are we actually going to go to. So if we go here, bring that up, go into the 4 hour time frame. Well, it shouldn't go too deep, really. I mean, this has already made a lower low, and now what if it makes a high low and fails to take that out? Whereas silver does take it out, which So it appears to be doing. So silver clearly showing that weakness right here, a lot weaker than gold. But yeah, I don't want to long this currently. I think it did pretty well, only losing what I did. But so far there isn't that much structure and narrative for me just yet, and I can't really build too much off of it. I did like that long initially, caught it really nicely, but I need to make sure I'm trailing that stop as well. I need to quickly go and trail it. Should I need to? No, still not. So only once it breaks that candle's low, then I can trail it from this swing high down to that swing high. Or whatever the previous 2 minute candle high is. But yeah, big flush out on silver. Holy crap. Getting down towards the 80s. So can it break this low or not? Bit of a failure swing just there. We've hit deep discount and turn range. And just had a bit of a failure swing. Silver has come quite deep into the range as well. It's come down to this previous area as well. Midpoint of that range, maybe? Yep, midpoint of that range. There's an area where a bounce wouldn't be invalid. And gold has come down to a deep discount of its range. Hit a manipulation closure that's long. Very clear invalidation. We hit deep discounted channel range. I don't know if I can risk that much though. I shouldn't be risking. Is that 3 or 2? Just 2. That's right. I can do that. Reversing from a key point of interest on both of them, gold hit deep discount and turn range liquidity, and is beginning to show that it could squeeze back up, and at the same time had that manipulation closure. Same signature we saw in silver earlier, as well as a failure swing, which is the kind of thing that can result in a bit of a squeeze. I don't know. Should I be in it? It's the time. New 5 minute candle about to open. And it's going to either work or not work. Possibly shouldn't be in there after such an aggressive move. So if we look at this right here, 2 minute time frame, stop loss still sitting all the way up here for invalidation. Silver did print a long look to the downside. That needs to reject from here right now. Okay, I'm moving a stop up. No, I'm moving it there because if it does come down again, then that's just gay. Should be able to at least reach up to this short-term impulse high, if it is correct. Short-term intermediate shift for retracement and then a push up. I want to see it get some speed though. And once it hits this high, it needs to continue pushing through that high. Boom, let's fucking go. That's right, S&B Capital. If you're going to buy bounce, then you have to add into the bounce. We're not here to do pussy bounces. I'm going to be a fucking man. Loads. Oh. So I do want to see it that hit that high. I want to see this continue to push. It is sweeping out major sell side right now. Deep internal range. That's why I liked it. So we had already hit deep internal range liquidity. Nice strong spike right there. I don't want it returning down there, so I'm tightening the stop basically, and I'm going to hold. If we can get a closure above this midpoint right here, then I'd expect a continuation push higher. And that should be just about stopping out this position in a moment here. So if it hits that high, then that's that position finished up. So if you hear a beep, that's what that beep is, unless it goes back down. But I don't want to see a rejection from this high. I do not want to see it reject. I want to see it push aggressively through that high, get above the midpoint of this range, in which case it is a hold. I need to add. If we can get a closure beyond here, I have to add. But greatly reduce the risk now. Now what happens if it gets up here and it just begins to fail? I only want to be in this if it's showing some mad strength. And if I'm right. If I'm not right, then why the fuck would I want to be in it? Don't hover over it, or I might impulsively click. Still didn't have that invalidation. The 2-minute trailing stop is holding up. Which I don't want to happen now, because now my I've put my money on the other side. So I'm actively looking for us to, one, confirm the long, but also actively looking for us to fail. And if I see us actively failing, then that is going to indicate that I want to get the fuck out as soon as possible. Excuse my language, but I want to be very focused. And if we do get a closure above this line, then I am going to buy any kind of dip below that short-term low. Silver, is silver confirming in any way? Nothing yet on silver. It still looks pretty heavy. Now, when we close up here, so that's our demo position getting stopped out. But when we get up here, I'll give it a couple of candles chance to close. But if it begins to show rejection without closing above, then I will just kill a position, and I'll use an efficient manner to do that, which is going to be on C-Trader. C-Trader, there's like a one click and it closes everything. Otherwise, if I click here, it's like click, nothing happens for a few seconds, then it works. But so far, we are looking promising. Massive sell side taken out on silver, which is why I'm not very comfortable with the fact that silver is just fucking around. It's not really moving that much. Sorry about my language again. I'm obviously a bit hyped up on this stuff, but okay. I don't want. We'll see what this candle does as it closes above. Okay, it's looking good. That's confirmed. I'm going to buy the dip. If we dip, I'm buying it. That is just maths. That's how maths works. Buy the dip. But where am I buying the dip? I'm buying it there or a bit lower. I think I'd buy the dip here. What level is this? 28.4. That'll do. 28.8 is what I'm going for. I suppose I should be buying the dip everywhere I can. It'd be ideal. Or I could even use this. Nah, I'm not getting long silver. I'm done with silver. Silver's weak, but I like the dip here. So we're getting long a bit, and we're getting even longer lower down. So the idea is that, well, this should remain unfilled. This is gap, should remain unfilled. This is a breakaway. There are no inefficiencies on the left side of the curve. So I shouldn't actually get down there, which is partly why I bought up there. But if I want to add more, I should be buying up here, not down here. Trying to save myself $3. Um, but this should rip back up quite nicely, I'd say. I should have added bigger. Mike Bellaferro would not be happy with that. You get big on the bounce, and you get bigger, like way bigger on the way up. But beautiful reaction just there. I like that a lot. To the TP side of things, we are reversing back up towards the hourly open. We should be able to reach that. I don't see much reason why we wouldn't go ahead and reach that. This is a previous area of accumulation where we took out sell sides. We then had the SMT on the lows, spent a bunch of time down here. So we are respecting the midpoint of that range as well. Very logical for us to reverse from that area, but that is looking good. Just looking strong, looking strong. Okay, nice. Looking healthy. Okay, it's my chance to add a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Just a little bit. Just a bit. Come on, just a little bit. I would appreciate being able to get some more size on. Because if I get more size on, then when it hits this high and gets a nice push up through it, and fails are somewhere in this range, which, as I mentioned, that 3 drive pattern that fails. If it fails within that range somewhere, then I'd be able to, take a partial profit while still holding some good size. The reason why I'm not worried about these lows getting taken out is that in a squeeze, you don't break lows. You just keep on squeezing. So you got people trying to go short, trying to target the lows, and they just never get permitted the chance to take profit. But I kind of like where we're bouncing on silver because this is the long that I caught, I think on Monday or Tuesday open. Where the downtrend failure swing boosts up aggressively. We've returned down to that same area. respected the midpoint of that range. So that's kind of why I liked the area on silver and why it made sense for us to be respecting that on gold, as gold made SMT on the lows and hits the deep discount internal range liquidity. So that's what I liked about that. But if I look at the 15 real quick, so closure above the midpoint of this wick stands out to me. Instant reversal, that's a bit of a dodgy short looking signal. I want to see what silver's doing right now. So we've been added to our position. So that should take out this low most likely. But I'm just going to have to trust this particular signature and trust that that signature is going to send us back up. That's essentially what I'm going to have to do. And putting the stops down here. Because I'm getting like opposing signals right now. Don't like the fact we came into this gap. Shouldn't really be happening. And silver aggressively dropping lower. Big up close. We did not take out the high. We failed and aggressively dropped lower. Please no. I mean, I did have an objective thing that told me buy. So I bought. I did the right thing. And then I added because that's what I am meant to do according to the professionals. Added to my position. But I don't like that aggressive drop on either of them. I don't like the fact we've come so deep into the range. I don't like how I'm moving my stop either. I just wanted to let it come all the way down to the extreme, basically. And then that is that. And we can see what happens, basically. Let's take another screenshot just to remember the good times. But objectively, it reversed, it bounced, it's showing me that it could go up. I need to be ready to mitigate just in case I do want to, because I might. This, however, that signature right there is the exact same signature we had precisely here on silver, if you remember. And then we did that and sold off. I don't want that to happen right here. I need this to reverse back up. And maybe get ready to trail some stops. I like how we worked below that low. New 5-minute candle. Question is this a low wick for the 15-minute candle that rips back up? That's what I'm looking for. I like how it's pushing up here. So if we can push up, then that is a trail the stops and as kind of type of situation. If we get a strong closure above this low, this midpoint, look to add. If we can't and silver still looks weak as shit, then I'm killing this thing ASAP. Okay, if this wants to go up, then I will add like a good boy. I'll move that out of the way in the meantime, just in case it does want to spike lower, and I'll get ready to click kill all if I need to. So we've got no work on this candle. I would permit it to come down to that. It should not come back below this low. If it comes back below this low, that's bad, so I'm going to try my stop up. It's bad because if this is a squeeze, then once we are on the right side of the V, after having a retracement like this, you want to see that have some follow through. So I'm trailing my stops right there. Right below that low. But I don't like how it's just kind of sitting there and rejecting of these wicks. But there's no wick on this candle. So if we can put a little wick, then get a nice strong push up through, then we can trust, okay, it should reach up to the side. It should. But so far it's just hanging out a little bit on the long side for me, honestly. Okay, we've put that wick in. Now go up. We get a displacement through this high, multiple candle closures up in this range, then I'll be able to trail my stop to this low and buy more, which is what this thing is for. Better put a stop loss in just to be ready. And if it doesn't want to, and silver aggressively drops lower, then I will be ready to kill this thing. We don't want to be too early though with closing it. I'll let silver tap that low, and if silver can get a reaction, then I can hold it. If silver can't get a reaction, is it going to? I mean, I should probably just let it hit my stop if it's going to. If it's going to hit my stop, it's going to hit my stop. It's like I'll be saving myself $4 if I close it right now. Yeah, that's fucked. Oh, killed it. Why? Because silver dropping aggressively low, and we literally just hit that low. Oh well, I tried. How much more did we just lose? Not that much more. Let me see on the screenshots. I can see how much we had on that last trade. 406. Let me see. So our equity before this trade was at, well, our account balance was at 356. Now it's at 331. So we lost $25 on this trade idea. Which, you know, I had a fair bit of size on for it, so that's not that bad to be fair. And I still got practice adding to a trade, I guess, and holding it. A bit of a expensive practice session. It's like 160 US dollars practice. And maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it's not a long right now. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. If I was trying to buy here, trying to buy here, trying to buy here, there's not really a long today. But yeah. So this pattern right here, I'll see if I can remember what stock I saw. But I did see a stock that had that. I'm going to quickly, I'll close this window basically. I'll turn the executions, take a screenshot. And then I will close the window and show you the stocks that I'm thinking of. And I wanted to jump off this before I see anything else because as you can see, like I see things, I'm like, damn, that is a long. I get long and then it does. But I'll see things all the time. So screenshot this window. I'm going to close this one that I'm logged into. I'm logged into this one, so I'll close that. And then we've got this window, which is paper trading. And you can see us overlapping that wick aggressively. But going to go away from this, going to go on to, let's make sure I've got one. I think It might have been this one. 24-hour charts. Here we go. So this was looking at, I was thinking, okay, well, if this is a long, I don't know what this is really, package software, but we've got this 3-drive pattern, 1, 2, 3 drives. And I was thinking up in this area, okay, well, how I could enter this trade is if we were to get above this, I could then buy with a stop below it. Same thing with Intel, INTC. Intel on a high time frame, we have that same kind of idea. We have 1 drive, 2 drives, 3 drives that fails. Once it fails, got above, you could have bought right there. It rallies up. It's dropped back down into it. I do want to buy, but I want to buy below this previous day low. It didn't quite reach that, so I'm kind of hoping it drops a bit down for a long. ONQ, this is a long. I want to buy this. I wanted to buy it this morning. We'll put a limits buy order in. But my broker, Blackpool, doesn't have this particular asset. These annotations are actually from way back here. I wanted to buy down here. It never reached it, and then just rips. And I've left all the same things on, but it still looks like a good trade. We'll have to do a bit more in depth of a research on it, but a lot of smooth highs, move highs. We haven't taken any buy side since the sell-off, dropping below an insanely huge pool of liquidity, previous year of accumulation, so it makes a lot of sense for a long there. ENPH, already showed you that one, and I don't know what these guys are. This chart just kind of stood out a bit. U is dead. We do 24-hour. Unity, I figures could be a good long just because, AI, virtual reality, that kind of thing. I think that's going to be big in the future, and they're kind of doing that kind of stuff. But it's come down very aggressively. V should have sold off. So I was long V from over here. Took profit. I tried adding here, got stopped out, and then I looked across the rest of the financial sector, and everything's looking kind of bearish. So I don't like it anymore. Run. This is the one that I wanted to buy the most. And as you can see, so originally I had a limit buy sitting right here. We never reached it. I then saw this beautiful reaction there. I bought, and it stopped me out. And now it looks like it might continue, and that's happening at the same time as the rest of the. Yeah, that never came to my entry. SHLS, that's the one that I am in. In fact, I've got paper trading. I do have a schooling account on paper trading. And you can see I'm in a few positions like this one. That should have a stop loss. Stop loss would have been down here originally. EDH, BTC, UNH, that's kind of just a random gamble. Sedge, UU, this one's a sick one. This one was cool. Insider selling news articles as we're below this low. And then it's this rip up to these smooth highs, targeting 32 even. Path. This, I really, really want to buy this one, but I was trying to fund different accounts that does have a CFD for Path, and I wanted to buy it this morning, but I wasn't able to fund the account. It wouldn't accept my credit card or my FPOS card, which meant that I wasn't able to buy it. And I've got big FOMO on this because this looks like a freaking sick trade, and it's really cheap right now. So I want to buy that. We have Airy. This one was a really cool one. It still is. It's got a long way to go still as well. I do have one single share on a actual like share broker, like stock trading broker. and I didn't have any money to buy any else at that time, and it wasn't available with Black Bull either. But this one, really beautiful price action. I can't remember what this is. That's right. Using the same liquidity mid concept, closure above liquidity mid, buy the dip, and then buy the rip back up. But yeah, maybe I should get more into stock trading rather than the scalping. But I'm not going to look at gold again right now. I'm done with that. But last thing, ETH BTC, what are we doing? In fact, rather than that, I'll just open up this. So we got on the daily charts. So looking nice and heavy still. ETH BTC, my thesis is that we come down, we buy the dip, and we go on a insane rip as strength rotates into ETH from BTC. ETH is currently running below this price support level into a previous era of accumulation. So I think this could be a nice, potentially nice place to accumulate. Bitcoin hasn't hit my target yet. My target's down at 68. Likely go a lot lower, but yeah, target 68. So I'm short Bitcoin, long ETH, engineering a uh, synthetic ETH BTC sympathy, not sympathy, relative strength play. And then XRP was a sick short. In fact, I think I'm still in that on my crypto account. There we go. So crypto account also got long that, but yeah, sold up against this daily wick. Got a nice push lower, pushing aggressively towards these lows, and you can see it would have. Where did I take profits? I'm not sure if I've taken off. So just got filled very recently. Down there, thinking, yep, and with how many? 800. So I took 800 off, got 1.5 still on. Next TP would be down probably just at this wick low, maybe just below it. But honestly, I'd say pretty close to the wick low would be okay. It's clearly squeezing out any traders there, but just prior to reaching it, I'd say the midpoint between these two pools would be a good place to get something off. Also, part of the reason of also taking it off right here is measuring out the swing low down to that swing low, finding the midpoint of that. That's a point where we could bounce as well. But I think as we approach this low, I should be scaling out a little bit more. So I will do that. Do maybe 400 at the midpoint between here and here. Then if we do spike below, we've got 1.2. That's going to be a very key level. Then below that, it's got one even. Zooming out a bit. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that was a freaking sick short. Once we do get below this low, I think I should take off a whole bunch more down there because that is the main target for the trade. So taking off another 600 once we hit 1.2, 2, 2. I don't know why plus 20 on. But this is, I don't really care about this paper account. It's just a random crypto tester account. So might as well make a whole bunch of money on this big trade. And then I've got the synthetic one going using black bull markets, which we can look at. ETH, USD from black bull, if we can find it. Well, that's hard to find from black bull. There we go. And then BTC USD, also from black bull. Then make sure we've got executions and positions turned on for them all. Oh, I could have just done that. Oh, actually, we're not in anything, so I don't know what's happening there. Oh, well, the idea is that I'm short Bitcoin, long ETH, and that kind of represents this chart, but I had to get a little bit more long ETH than I was short Bitcoin, which what that results in is when we do, if ETH is bullish, I'm winning more, which, but if it's bearish, then I'm losing more. But if this chart goes up, I should make more with that type of scenario. But yeah, I'm gonna call this video here. A bit of a losing session. Unfortunately, took 4 trades, or depending on how you could count it. Just looking at the charts right now on MT5, and we can see gold from that last trade I took up in this area. Beautiful. So same repeating pattern of both gold and silver, and then that 3 drive failure offering a pretty sick entry. You can see I actually did scalp it short here, which brought this account back to break even, and then lost 50, well, but yeah, then lost $70 on this long trade, which got slipped out there. But that'll do for this video. Yeah, I'm interested to probably look back at this sometime in the future, see my thought processes and how I traded, but I think I traded all right. Obviously, there's a few little things I could be fixing, but in general, for being completely wrong, I think I handled it pretty well. So, yeah, keen to get better.